I have been doing videos for some time now, and I've been trying to get to a core message that the only way we can come together as a collective society, working for the betterment of us all, because it is a self-enlightened truth, because it will progress us forward. It will give us new levels of aspiration and new ambitions. It will drive us to better ourselves in every possible way possible. It will get us to a place where we all profess we want. And we've been saying and professing this want and this desire for as long as the as for as long as humanity has existed. It is something we want so badly that we will believe in some higher power to guide us towards it. We believe in these so-called leaders. We want it so badly we'll do just about anything to have it. Yet we accept the evil. We buy and purchase the societal evils that we call normal. We ignore the atrocities that we commit upon others, upon the very earth we need for our survival. We subject our children who are born and unborn to come into this evil, this wrong, this schism, and we accept the normality of it, even when we hear about how the extraction and how we have created this monstrosity called money, and we have tied it with economics, and they're both abstract nonsense. We say we're outraged, but we won't do much to change it. Give you a good example. Nancy Pelosi was on TV talking with this British idiot, and she's talking about eating cake and chocolate and candy. And this is a time when there's a pandemic happening, and people are worried about how they're gonna pay their rent, how they're gonna buy basic needs, how they're gonna pay the utilities. They're worried about their health and how they're gonna get treatment for their health. They're worried about 1,000 different things. Yet she's there talking about this on national TV, and yet a person who was running against her in her district in California, got only 13% of the votes, and 75% went to her, went to Nancy Pelosi. Almost 75%. And she's saying, "Oh, Republicans are trying to take, trying to take her seat." Except there's no Republican running where she is because it's a solid state of so-called blue, Democratic safety. 37 or percent, 37 points or more of a safety margin. This is what I mean by, but we don't really care. Well, you don't really care. I care. I care. You don't really care. I'm concerned about others. But you know what? Thing is I can care all I want. But until this trope, this idea that something will bring us back to sanity, will bring us together. It's an illusion. It's a fantasy. It doesn't exist. People talk about the world wars bringing people together. No, it didn't bring people together. Because what do we do? Rather than looking and digging into our own way, how we look at things, how we see things, rather than having imagination and curiosity and look inward and be introspective and look at everything and say, well, no, this doesn't make any sense. And do the work, the real work. Work isn't physical. It's not about building infrastructure. It's not about any of that. True work is bringing the mind, the emotion, and body together into balance, and to be able to think critically, look at things critically, and go through, because we see it when we drive around, when we walk around, when we watch and listen to our TV or our radio or read our book. We feel and see the impacts when we live in our own homes, in our own residences. We see it and hear it when we talk to each other. But there is no introspection. There is no wanting to make things better because we keep listening and advocating. We look, rather than saying, "Oh no, I see how this happened," and say, "Okay, no, guess what? We don't buy it. We're not gonna go to. We're not gonna go fight each other. We're not gonna stop blowing each other's residences up. We're not gonna go destroying the countryside and polluting the natural world which we need. We're not going to destroy our basic natural needs. We're not gonna we're not gonna uh, we're not gonna make it profitable for you. Rather than coming together and saying, no, we don't buy your BS and you don't matter. No, we we uh, we go and and allowed either conscription, or we volunteer, or if we don't volunteer, we go pick up our weapons, or we just go do this protesting. None of that works. We're so concerned about our own individual or insular concerns. We're more concerned about having the basic needs, of the immediate basic needs of the short term, and of the short term, that we don't take into consideration any of this. We don't look to solve something. We buy into it. We invest into it. We allow it to happen. And that's because we allow it to happen. Because, oh no, some people came at us with weapons, started killing us. Well, the answer to that is we vastly outnumbered them, and they can't. And you just sit back and say, "Go ahead, kill us." How are you gonna do? How are you gonna do anything when three quarters of 3/4 or more of the people aren't gonna do it? The more critical way to look at it is that if you truly love and want to see and build a better world, then that starts before your child is born. That starts with getting yourself informed. That starts with having curiosity, having imagination. That starts with having a solid core of what we call morals and ethics. But those are really convoluted, because what it is if we don't like having violence of any sort done to us, then why do we accept it done unto others? We want to talk about solidarity. Solidarity is saying, no, we're not taking it, we're not believing in it, we're not going to do it, and you can't make us. And even if you threaten to kill me and threaten to kill my family, I'm still not going to do it, because ultimately, in the short term period, it's going to come back to cause us more harm. It's only going to aid and abet the insanity. I've come to realize no matter how much we might care, or I might care, it just isn't going to happen, because we are brought up, and the only true victims are those who are newly born or unborn, who come in not into life, but to an existence that is oppressive, that is filled with no principles, no ethics, no morals. We come in to an existence of insanity, of a road and a path to our inevitable destruction. It's a extremely hard thing, and it is a very depressing, and it robs, at least me, of any hope or faith I cannot see a future for us. And if it's a future, it's only one of bleakness. I have, and this is why I have come to the realization the only way we can escape it and divest from the insanity is to do what I recently posted on a video. And basically divest from the greater human world and just concentrate on doing the real work and be ready, because we may be able to divest in one way, but we will never be able to escape. We will have to look at defending ourselves in a physical, economic, and all that other stuff. All these insanities that we come into. We come into a pure with vast potential, but that potential and that purity is eroded and obliterated. And I desperately want out. And this is the reason why so many people kill themselves. Because it looks hopeless. Because there is no future. I can envision and see a great future. One where we take into consideration, you know, in a more deep, fundamental way. And we can plan, not just in years, but not in just in decades, but with centuries ahead. I can envision, but it won't happen until a conscious shift and realization comes to a greater number. Or we have those like me who will come together and say, you know what, regardless of friends, regardless of family, it's all meaningless. And we will work towards building a society that will envision the greater future that we all imagine can be there if we but work towards it. Not just when it's convenient, but continuously. It just won't come about. And you don't need millions. You don't even need thousands. You just need a core. That's every government, every country, every people. That is how things have happened. For the small and basically inconsequential changes where the immediate physical, emotional, and this quote unquote economic tyranny has pushed, but it's never corrected because the narrative which makes up the beliefs, which installs the ignorance, which is ignoring the fundamental factors, never gets corrected. Those who are the destructive elements are not eliminated, are not taken out of the factor, and we continue the cycle. Not anew, because it's already in a bad situation. It will just temporarily slow down to build up anew to the point where the masses will have to take action. And oftentimes that involves with the physical violence. Rather than thinking about how we stopped that from doing over and over again, just as economy has the same dynamics. Rather than doing that, we continue from a bad, uncritical, unevolved position, leaving a gaping hole for the same sort of thing to happen over and over and over again. This has been the dynamic. And it is immensely sad and pathetic that with all the knowledge we have today, that we cannot do the work and come to the fundamental realization that we need to have a collective societal change, mentally, emotionally, and physically, which I've been talking about, which when it comes in brought in balance, starts the work of critical thinking and understanding. It brings us the spirituality, the reservoir, the will to open us to real hope, to real future, to real life, and not an existence. I'm not I don't know how else to put it. Thank you for your time.